Now, the first time that I reviewed the Manhattan 37 was 2 years ago. And looking at the case shape, you can see that this watch is inspired by the Vacheron Royal Chronometer 2215. It's got a very similar case shape design, but that's where the similarities end. You see, Maen seems to have developed its own unique elements. Some of them I like, but some of them, well, not so much, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you. Now, the beauty of this watch is that each individual dial is hand painted by IFL watches, and it reflects the boroughs of New York's concrete jungle: Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, and even Harlem. So this watch is a collaboration between Maen and IFL watches. And honestly guys, it looks like someone splashed paint all over that dial. Proper street artists doing what they do best: graffiti. Now, I've had this watch with me here for a week. I've been wearing it, seeing how that playful dial interacts with that luxury style case, and it's been a bit of a revelation. Most of it's been good, but in fact surprisingly good. However, there's also a couple of things that I want to share in my gripe section of this video, things that you should be aware of if you're keen on this watch. Now, you saw the pop-up. Maen has sponsored this video, so I will of course leave a link in the description section. If this watch interests you, feel free to check it out. And first and foremost, I need to tell you guys something. There's only a very small window of opportunity if you guys actually want to buy this watch. You see, the watch itself is only going to be available during a 24-hour window from 4 PM on November the 25th till 4 PM on November the 26th. Now, that's a very small window if you're keen on this watch, and that's a damn shame because the watch itself has actually been a delight. But before you get excited, let me tell you the price. The watch comes in at €13.99 including VAT. And that's for European orders. However, for the non-European guys like us, it's priced at $11.99. Now, with all that said, is the watch any good? What's it like? Well, looking at the specs of the watch, the dimensions have dictated a very comfortable and easy wear. I measure a case diameter of 37 and a case height of 9.9. That crown is an octagonal 5.5mm push-pull crown. The watch offers 100 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the bracelet sized to my 18cm wrist, I measure exactly 125 grams. And on the wrist, the watch has not disappointed. It's been a real comfortable wear. That height coming in at 9.9, accompanied by that wonderful bracelet, has been so easy on the wrist. In fact, that bracelet and its articulation has been something to mention. It features a butterfly clasp, and each side of that clasp interlocks and seems to integrate perfectly. Now, there's no on-the-fly adjustability here, but with that link size, I've managed to find a perfect fit. Now, if I turn the watch over, you'll notice there's a solid case back. And behind that case back is a Sellita SW200. It's actually regulated in 5 positions, and one thing I've really enjoyed about this watch is the fact that there is actually no date. You've just got a very clean dial. Well, I say clean, you get to see more of that graffiti, which is the whole reason behind this collaboration. Now, the fact that there's no date, I do like that, but there is a ghost position. So when you pull the crown out to the first position, you can actually hear that date wheel clicking over. Now, whether or not they're going to remove that date function in a production version, I'm not aware of, but I'm sharing my finding with you guys nonetheless. Now, obviously the hero of this watch is that dial. And for me, it's been a surprise because it's so nice to look at something like this, which is offering a grunge street style look, but with a classically inspired luxury style watch. So it's pretty different in my eyes, and I like that. Now, with so much going on with that hand painted graffiti, how's the legibility? Well, surprisingly, it's been actually very good. I honestly expected this watch to be a nightmare to read the time, but I think the highly polished bevel handset and white-filled lume makes for a very good separator from that dial. And even in some lighting scenarios, if you do have to look twice, well, the way I see it, it gives you an opportunity to check out that dial again in more detail. Now, speaking of that lume, it seems to be nice and evenly applied. For a dressier style sports watch, I think it's doing very well. And on that note, what are my gripes or room for improvement on this watch? Well, firstly, that crown. I didn't like the crown on the original Manhattan 37, and I don't like this crown either. It's an octagonal size crown, and it's a little bit awkward to wind, but I suppose the fact that this is an automatic, you really only have to give it a little bit of juice, put it on your wrist, and let your daily wrist movements do the rest. But if this watch was a manual wind watch, I would be screaming, give us a new crown, because I really don't like the feel of that crown. It looks good, but functionality wise, it's a tad awkward and difficult to wind. Next gripe for me is the price. It's not an inexpensive watch. Now that said, each of these dials is hand painted, so there is a uniqueness there, and obviously that does come at a cost. So sort of happy to overlook that price, but it is not an inexpensive watch. Now I did mention that there is a ghost position, and I don't know whether they're going to rectify that, but I'm mentioning it for clarity's sake. This one here does have a ghost position. You can hear the actual date wheel going around. And lastly for me, the purchase window. You've only got 24 hours to make up your mind and buy this watch, and if you watch this video in a week's time from now, well, you missed out. Simple as that. So that's something to consider, and unfortunately a few people will be missing out if they were keen on a watch like this. But overall, I must say the experience has been very good, very different. The watch's case finishing and execution has been on a top level, and the bracelet, as I mentioned, even though there's no micro adjustability, it has been a delight and very comfortable on my wrist. But the real beauty and standout obviously has been that dial. It's very grunge, street art, and obviously being hand painted, every watch is going to be slightly different. And I've got to be honest, the execution is actually better than I expected. But a very different watch, a very unique piece. Let me know your thoughts, guys, what you think of this collaboration. It's been fun and it's been very different. In that regard, it's been more than worth it having this on the wrist for the week. Apart from a couple of small niggles which I did mention in the review, the watch itself has actually been a delight. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. My thoughts on this Maen X IFL Manhattan Graffiti. It's a collaboration and I think it's done tastefully and very stylishly. Albeit if you're not lucky enough to watch a video like this before the release, you might be paying exorbitant prices on the secondary market trying to find one. So thanks for watching. Be well, be safe. Enjoy the watch that's currently on your wrist. Enjoy the hobby, and we'll see you in the next one.